let's take a look at the last activity in our week 4 assignment guide about gear set design and drawings. And the goal of this activity is to demonstrate your ability to add new items to an industry standard material parts log. And so every company does their part numbering a little bit different. But the goal again is that you can look at one and sort of understand the structure of it by looking at it. So when it comes time for you to either look for a part that has already been made, you can look it up, or to add a new part that hasn't already been made, do it in such a way that other people can look it up. And so that's what we want to be able to do out of this. So as always, it starts with a review. You have to sort of look things over. And so you're going to access and review the sample. And again, this is a representative sample, which means that all of them are supposed to follow this kind of system. And you're supposed to be able to look at it and deduce that. Well, that takes practice, of course. So we're going to start out by going, what information goes in the part description? So for gears, and this is all gear stuff, and usually often there's like something called a drafting room manual or a part number manual, and it sort of explains what goes into the description of different things. But I'm going to let you look at this and just go, okay, well, these are all about gears. So it's going to tell you whether it's a pinion. First of all, it's going to tell you what it is. It's a gear. And then there's a couple of different types. There's pinion gears. There's driven gears. And there's blank gears. We've mentioned a little bit. A blank gear is just that. It's got the teeth on it. And that's about it. There's no hole for a shaft or a hub or a little bearing race or anything. It's a blank. And you're going to use that blank to make something else, either a pinion or a driven gear. Okay, and then there's also a gear set, which has more than one part to it. So if we're talking about a pinion, the important things are people are going to look up. They're going to go, I wonder if somebody's already designed this thing I want. And so what would you need to know? You need to know the OD, the PD, the DP, the PA, the number of teeth, and the width of the face. And so then if you knew all of those, you could look these up and see if there's already one of those made, or maybe at least there's a blank that you can work from. And that just makes life easier for you. You don't want to redesign something redraw something that's already been made. So these are all the things that could be different. Now, we haven't really talked. It could have a different type of shaft. And that might go over here in the notes, but we're going to ignore that for now. We're just going to say, okay, ear, pinion, we're going to list all this kind of stuff. And obviously there could be different materials. So when somebody looks at this and they go, oh, I see steel. Oh, I need brass. They could easily just copy it. Brass. Now it's not going to be made from this one, 311. That one's steel, so I might have to copy those too. And I'm not doing much here on the brass. Brass is not descriptive enough. There's many, many, many types of brass. But what is this one made from? The gear blank for the brass would be a 316. So that's how somebody would use this parts list if they had much the same thing, but it's just a little bit different. Just a little bit different. I'm going to adjust those cell heights. There we go. So that's how it would get used. You list the things that are important. Now look, if it's a driven gear, often people will, even though it's exactly the same, say, no, 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 that's my driven gear. And there's a reason for that. Most companies want the driven gear or the drive gear to be the one that fails if there's a problem. And it just depends on the philosophy of that that design group or that manufacturing or the engineering group or the company. And so you often say which one it is so that somebody knows how to apply the design standards to it. Okay, so that's why you might have the exact same one here, and it might be a driven gear. Driven. Well, now in this case, since I want it to be the exact same gear, 4140, it is going to be made from the same gear blank. Okay? That's how all this part number stuff gets used. Here's what your job is. I'm going to erase all this now. Your job is to fill this in for the drawings that you made. You made a pinion gear. You have to actually replace these letters with the appropriate numbers. And then for the gear blank, of course, they're going to be the same numbers. And for your driven gear, you're going to replace these letters with the appropriate number. And you'll do the same thing for the gear blank. And for the gear set ratio, I kind of did that one for you. Ratio of 4, center distance of 3. And it's made from 2 part numbers, right? Because that's a gear set, so there's going to be 2. But your job is to fill these in appropriately. So hopefully that gives you enough information on this one. Let's see if we covered everything here. Yeah, you can select any material. You can select any material. This one is not quite as much work as some of the others. So there we go. That's your activity 4 for week 4.